So why are we worried about sound deadening? Well, whenever the speaker in here is playing, what you want to hear is the cone. You hear the frequencies that the speaker itself is producing. What you don't want is any of that back wave from that cone, the air moving the other direction, to be vibrating materials and getting a resonance started. Also, consider that when this cone is trying to vibrate and produce sound, it's pushing against the frame of this speaker. That frame is mounted to something. If it's mounted to a piece of metal, then it's going to ring. As that metal speaker is getting pushed into that metal door, it's going to ring and make noise. That is one of the little known advantages to having these things from customspeakerpods.com, a link down below. They're automatically going to prevent that problem because they're not mounted in metal. They're mounted on thick ABS plastic. Not everyone has a system like this, and I get it. Of course, there are plenty of guys watching my channel that do have systems like this. But regardless of whether you have a factory system, just upgrading it a little bit, or whether you're crazy like I am and you have this thing, you're still going to want sound deadening. Now, when it comes to those sympathetic vibrations, different levels of sound pressure are going to make different types of materials necessary for different reasons. So if you're doing sound quality setup or your daily driver where you just want it to sound good, killing off panel resonances with small chunks of the weighted material attached to those panels to lower the frequency that they want to resonate is all you really need. For example, that panel over there, let's say it resonates at 60 hertz, which is probably not too far off. Now here's an area on my vehicle with no sound deadener in it. Hear that? Clang, clang, clang. If you add some mass to it, you can make that panel resonate at 20 hertz. Now I've only got a little sound deadener in the door of this, but listen to this. And if all you're playing is normal music at normal human being volumes, having that panel only want to resonate when the frequency gets down to 20 hertz totally fix your problem. So you don't have to go crazy with sound dampening to reduce those panel vibrations to the point to where the frequency they're wanting to vibrate at is low enough that it's not going to cause issues. However, there are many types of sound dampening materials. The one I just talked about is the most common. It's a weighted, kind of a heavy butyl rubber with a foil backing. Well, that adds mass to the panel, and it also adds rigidity to the panel. Both of those things resist vibrations, high frequency vibrations. But, for the guys like me that want to do crazy things, you probably should be using some slightly different materials. If you're going to be dropping extreme bass, big time sound pressure, and crazy things, you're probably going to want to invest in some Vibraflex and find DJ Rusticle's tutorial on how to install it. Because I believe it's Master of All Bass. Yeah, go to his channel and dig up that video. He explains how to do it the right way. If you want to do that kind of stuff, you're going to need to make your panels all extremely rigid because you're turning the whole interior of your vehicle into one big speaker enclosure. There's also sound dampening materials that are designed to keep sound out of the vehicle, to stop road noises and stuff from coming into the vehicle, to stop the sound of rain hitting the roof from ringing inside of a vehicle. Some of those old panel vans, the cargo vans and stuff, are noisy as all get out when it's raining. It's just horrendous, the noise they make. And some dampening on the roof of that would all but eliminate that. There's also material that's designed to stop heat transfer, keep it warm inside, cool outside, and vice versa. Keep the inside temperature what you want it to be, just like insulation in a house. One of those materials is this old piece that I have laying right here. It's been through the ringer. It normally doesn't look like this, but yes. So what you have here is the foam on the outside. That's designed to stop the transfer of sound from here to here. Then underneath that, you've got that butyl. You got that foil right there in the middle, and you got that butyl down there on the bottom. The butyl has an adhesive on it, sticks it. The foil acts like a thermal barrier, and it also allows the vibration to get turned into thermal energy. That's really complicated, and we're not going to get into thermodynamics, but it has dual purposes. Then you have this liner here, which is designed to trap sound and stop it from moving from here to here. Now, just like this guitar has a frequency range, that particular frequency is where it's going to be the strongest. And that is why some guitars sound bassier than others. It's because the particular frequency that the body of that guitar vibrates is a lower frequency. And so whenever you play the lower notes on the guitar, they really resonate. So while those notes resonating on an instrument, for example, the strings vibrate and make the body resonate. When you blow on a saxophone, the reed vibrates. It makes the front of the sax vibrate, it gets amplified. You blow on a trombone or a trumpet or a tuba, your lips vibrate, which gets amplified and resonates through the tube and comes out. When you hit the piano key, the hammer strikes the string, which vibrates and vibrates the frame inside the piano, which makes a noise. What you don't want in a car is for that speaker cone vibrating to cause the stuff around it to vibrate. That's the exact opposite of what you want. You want nothing to vibrate except the cone of the driver. That way you're accurately reproducing all those wonderful instruments that I just listed the way they originally sounded. Now, bear in mind, sound dampening doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, just about anything that you can put against a vibrating piece of metal is going to either one, stop the vibration, or two, change the frequency that it vibrates. Any kind of mass you can attach, or any kind of spring you can put in there, a piece of thick foam, something that pushes out on both sides and just makes it not be able to get a resonant frequency going, anything can fix that problem. Now, keeping in mind that in a car, for example, the door of a car, you've got a lot of mechanisms and wiring and structural things happening inside that door. So being able to go in there and add something to stop the panel from resonating, you also have to leave room for the window and the window regulator to go up and down. You have to leave a space for all the wiring to run, the door handle mechanisms and stuff to be able to operate. Not to mention airbags. You don't want to try to shove a pillow in something to stop it from vibrating, only to have it mess up the airbags. So in those cases, it's usually easier to go with basic sound dampening, generic sound dampening material, which is a full-backed butyl piece of material to go in there and add mass and some rigidity to that metal panel, and also to add some rigidity to the plastic panel as well. That plastic, if it's a large enough sheet with no curves and contours in it, it can get a nice vibration going as well. One of the plastics that I've run into that doesn't have a problem vibrating and making noise is these custom speaker pods from customspeakerpods.com. And if you want to be able to put different drivers in your door than the factory intended, or to just have really easy to replace drivers, I don't have to take my door panel off to work on these. I can just pull them straight out, put new ones in. It's wonderful. Click the link down below and head over to customspeakerpods.com. If you use my discount code, you get 10% off of whatever you put in that cart. And that's a good deal. No ding ding there. Of course, in some areas, like maybe in your headliner, up on your roof, the floor, the carpet helps with that. You could always use some different types of sound dampening solutions in the headliner. There's other areas where that can come into play. You also want to eliminate rattles, clips and switches and wires and things that may be moving around inside of a panel, slapping against metal or plastic. Those things can be very annoying. And just using some medical tape, the fabric medical tape, around a lot of those connections and putting them back together can eliminate tons of that stuff. Of course, they make a tape for that. You could also use Tessa tape. That works good too. It's very similar to medical tape. But they make materials for that. Still, all you need to do is just stop something from colliding with something else in such a way that it makes a noise. In short, the term sound deadener would be like saying house builder. It just doesn't encompass all the jobs that different forms of sound treatment do.